This fall, I was very privileged once again to host my fashion design class in the fall. We had 4 students this year in my fashion design class and 2 very special students in my advanced fashion class. This year in my regular fall fashion class, we had Bryce Faulkner, we have Alice Lee, we have Kylie Marshall, and we have Maya McBride. In my advanced fashion class, who were independent studies, we have Fiona G, who was back home in China, and we had Emily Elizabeth Kent, who was here in Highmount with me on an independent study. Emily Elizabeth Kent has been a rock star fashion designer from day one. Even before I came here to Storm King, she was one of the founding members to the Fashion Club, which actually ended up becoming the fashion class. So she really has been doing fashion all 4 years that she has been here. This year being her senior year, she has decided to put together a very special runway show. It is a design or a fashion show that she has been planning for at least the past 2 or 3 years with me, based on flowers from locations that are special to her from around the world. So the theme of her fashion show this year is My Flower Garden, My Fairy Garden. And she has been working with me, like I said, the past 2 years just on composing what this is about, between tea parties and some sessions in her room here in Highmount, sewing, blood, sweat, and tears. She has devoted everything that she has learned into this fashion show. So the dress that Emily is now wearing is called Orange Blossom. Again, this is based on a literal orange blossom from her home state of Florida. As she walks down the runway, you can see the drape and the way that it flows behind her. That's because there is actually structural integrity to this dress. She put reed inside of the flower petals so then it still holds its shape as she walks down the runway. I remember her making this dress, and we had to experiment again with using only sustainable materials. So usually when using or having structural integrity to a dress, there would either be plastic boning, or in olden days they would usually use whale bone, like yes, literal whale. Of course, that is not sustainable, so we found bamboo reeds that she was able to literally insert into the petals to hold its shape. So Iris, the purple dress, is really special because Emily wanted to do a convertible dress. So as you can see her walking down the runway, it has petals similar to Orange Blossom and a few other of her dresses. However, there is a secret. So she is able to take off the skirt and then convert it into a shorter dress. Rose is again another convertible dress that Emily had made. I remember she actually made this in Spy Rock when she was the golden egg and she had to get away from the dorm. So this dress in particular was a bit of a challenge because she had to work by herself in isolation in a room that she wasn't used to. But what she did discover is a new way how to drape the dress. So it has this really nice split in the front. She was able to keep that split even with the conversion of the skirt. The other thing that's really cool about Rose is the fact that she used ribbon that looks like garland for her shoulder straps. The deep V in the back also alludes to, again, how nice of a silhouette that she was able to create, again, while completely on her own. I remember that garden when Emily started making this dress. It honestly was the one that eluded her the most. It was supposed to be the finishing piece other than Thistle. It was supposed to be one of the dresses that kind of culminated all of the flowers again into garden. But she really struggled trying to figure out a silhouette or how to make it different from some of the other pieces that she had already created. So at the end of the day, after I think many blood, sweat, and tears, and many sessions of just trying to work it out between the hallway and Highmount, she finally had an aha moment and was able to put together this really nice drape in the front that gathers to create this really interesting, nice bust line. So she was able to take this fabric that has this really awesome sheen to it, add some garland for her straps, but then also have the nice flow of the two pieces of fabric in the back to kind of give an homage to Grecian or Roman style togas without it being toga-esque. It is the dress with the most petals. So I remember when she was hemming each petal, it was quite the pain in the butt. The petals for this one does not have structural integrity, meaning there's no reed in it to, again, kind of like fill out those petals. But you can see the way that it flows down the runway in order to, again, kind of show the whimsy of it and how it moves through space. Last but not least, we have Thistle. This is Emily's pride and joy. Last summer, she went to Scotland before the pandemic really hit, and she picked up all of this Isle of Skye tartan fabric. The tartan fabric on its own, there's a saying, the whole 9 yards. The whole 9 yards comes from when you had to use 9 yards of fabric in order to create a tartan. So she got the whole 9 yards of this Isle of Skye Scottish tartan and created her own. It is said that when you make a tartan, you have to be an apprentice for 5 years. She was able to do it and make her own in 2 weeks. So again, high props for Emily Elizabeth Kent for making her own tartan from the place that she loves the most. Fiona G is a student that I've now had for the past 2 years. She came to Storm King, and I remember when she was having her interviews and taking a tour of the school, she met with me. She was already highly invested in fashion design. When she took my class last year, the regular fashion design class, she was a student that definitely paid attention to detail and structure. So her moving on to doing the advanced fashion class, even though she was all the way in China and had her own sewing machine, she was able to do all the work remotely. We are hoping that next year she's able to come back and work on her portfolios for college, so then she's able to get into a fashion program. So I welcome you and introduce you to Fiona G and her runway based on the 90s.